Hey everybody, welcome to the Mana Leek. I'm John as always, and with set reviews over, it's time to finally get back to Top 10 Thursdays. I had planned on doing this list a couple of weeks ago, but then they took forever to spoil all the gods. But today, we're going to take a look at the top 10 Amonkhet Invocations for Limited. Now remember, this is for Limited. Days is great, Counterbalance is super fun. Neither will appear on this list because they're really bad in Limited. Up first at number 10 is Oketra the True. Oketra is probably my third favorite god, I think, because she's not terribly difficult to turn on naturally, and she turns herself on relatively well as well. At that point, you have a fantastic attacker and blocker while continuing to establish your board, even if you're completely out of cards in hand. You can just throw mana into her and make little 1/1s. So number 10, Oketra the True. Number 9 takes us all the way back to Alliances for Force of Will. Force of Will is a fantastic counterspell because it can be cast even while you're tapped out, at the expense of a blue card and a single life. You can end up in some tricky situations where you don't have the blue card or 5 mana up, but the versatility of an unconditional counterspell that can be played even when your opponent thinks they're safe is great. Number 8 is another god, Bontu the Glorified. Bontu's probably my favorite god. In fact, flat out, she is my favorite god. But I recognize that there is one likely stronger than her for Limited. Unlike some, I don't think it's that difficult to turn her on, and the ever-present danger of suddenly having a 4/6 indestructible is going to make a lot of opponents not attack you. A lot of versatility here with Bontu the Glorified. Well, let's go back further than Alliances, all the way back to Alpha, for number 7, Wrath of God. Now, Wraths aren't the greatest in Limited because they're usually expensive these days, in the 5+ range. But 4 mana? That's nothing. You can sandbag some creatures, take a bit of damage, convince your opponent to overcommit to the board, and then on turn 4 or 5, drop this, and next turn, just flood the board with creatures. Number 6 is some good old-fashioned removal, Vindicate. Destroying whatever I want for 3 mana? Sign me up. Being white-black obviously puts you into a specific deck, but it just so happens to be one of the archetypes that Amonkhet is kind of slamming in our faces, the zombie deck. So that works fine for me. Number 5 is more straight-up removal, but with a bonus with Maelstrom Pulse. Did you know that on average a draft only has 2 copies of any given common? Given variants, that can go up, that can go down, but on average 2 of any common is expected. The odds of you getting several targets with one Maelstrom Pulse is slim to nil in Limited. But because the potential is there, it does have to be one spot higher than Vindicate. Maybe you get some tokens, that's probably the most likely spot that you're going to get a bunch of extra value out of Vindicate. Not Vindicate, Maelstrom Pulse. And like Vindicate, it's another in the most prominent archetype colors of the set. Number 4 is Chain Lightning, because even at sorcery speed, Lightning Bolt is really good. The odds of facing another red player who could copy this is pretty slim as well, so Chain Lightning, just straight up 3 damage to a creature or player, number 4. Number 3 is the final god on the list, Ronus. I think Ronus is going to be the best god in the set for Limited. 4 power is not something that Green's going to have any trouble with, and the floor, the worst case scenario of needing a bear and 3 mana to turn on Ronus, that's nothing at all. Working amazingly on defense and offense is just another bonus, and potentially just forcing through damage on other creatures is huge. Ronus seems like an absolute beating. Drawing cards is good, and that's why number 2 is Consecrated Sphinx. 6 mana is definitely a lot, so you're going to want to be a little bit control-y, but a 4/6 flyer is nigh on invincible in combat, and drawing 2 cards on your opponent's draw step, plus off their cycling or anything extra, is going to quickly end the game. Plus, it's a May ability, which means you're never in danger of milling yourself either. Number 1 is Worship, because it virtually says you can't lose the game due to life loss. As long as you have a couple creatures, you just let that damage through and just make sure you keep the creatures alive. You'll obviously need to have some sort of finisher, because you still lose to milling yourself, but playing against Worship in Limited is going to feel horrible. Hopefully, I never, ever have to feel that pain. So that's going to wrap it up for the top 10 Amonkhet Invocations in Limited. Let me know which ones you're excited to play with, because I'm never going to play with them. As you probably know, I am now over 400 packs into Masterpiece sets without opening any Masterpieces. In Zendikar, in Kaladesh, we'll see how Amonkhet goes. Maybe I open a ton, but I'm going to aim for 0. Anyways, let me know which ones you're excited to play with in the comments down below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at @TheManaLeek. That's Leek, like the vegetable, not the card. You can also find me at Facebook.com/TheManaLeek, Twitch.tv/TheManaLeek, and Patreon.com/TheManaLeek, where you can earn playmats and various rewards like that. So check all that out. Click that like button if you like the content. Click subscribe if you want to see more. And if you do have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see y'all next time.